It's a good day to be happy. Welcome to Breakfast Central. Let's help you with that. My name is Felicity Eziwike.
Good morning, Felicity. Good morning to you watching out there. Welcome to Breakfast Central. Yes, indeed, it's a Tuesday, and it's another day, the 6th day of March 2021, and I'm sure many people are back at work, and basically the Easter holidays are over.
Yes, for some it's extended. For some people that didn't sleep well, that are here this morning, it continues. But we are here to make sure your morning is much better than your night, basically.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to Breakfast Central. Don't forget, you can join the conversation and let us know where you are watching from. Use the hashtag #NCBreakfastCentral and follow us at News Central TV. Just head to our website for more. That's newscentral.africa. And you can also download the News Central TV mobile app. Just head to your Play Store or iOS.
Here are some of the things we have lined up just for you on the show. We have some news stories to keep you updated with what you may have missed during the night. Basically, the morning tea captures some of the newspapers' headline across the continent. Then, of course, our impact conversation focus today. I'll be touching base with Tunji Andrews for some answers on how the increase in crude oil prices will impact Nigeria's budget, and the 6 million euros donated by France to WHO to deepen trade in developing countries.
We'll also have some sports updates for you from the world of sports, and Onyo Barrow will be here later. And we'll look at the social media spaces, what's been on our timelines lately. But first, a look at some of the stories making the rounds.
Indeed, it's quite sad, this one. Imo State Prison Authorities, that is in Nigeria, say 6 inmates have so far voluntarily returned to the facility after an attack by gunmen that led to the forceful release of almost 2,000 inmates in the facility. Public Relations Officer of the Corrections Center, Francis Enobore, told News Central that the acting controller of corrections has appealed to the public to offer useful information that can lead to the rearrest of the escapees.
Well, this unfortunate tragedy can only be condemned by every reasonable mind. And I want to assure our people, the intention is to put fear into our people and make them vulnerable. But I can assure you that government working with security agencies will rise to the occasion and get to the end of the matter. I've already commissioned a detailed investigation into this incident with a view to finding out the perpetrators and the masterminds of this ugly incident. Luckily for us, no life was lost. But however, the properties that were destroyed is also unacceptable. So going forward, government will rise to the occasion, and our security agencies are now prepared more than ever to be more proactive. And
thank you. The unfortunate incident that happened at the early hour of today, precisely at about 0215 led to the death of an inmate who to death by other fleeing inmates. As at the last count, before the unfortunate incident happened, the facility had a total of 1,800. As at the last count, when the attackers invaded the facility, we have so far recovered 6 persons have on their own come back. 35 refused to follow the fleeing inmates, and 1 unfortunately died. Well, it is too early in the day to begin to speculate on who is behind the unfortunate incident or who is not. However, the Acting Controller General of Corrections, in collaboration with our sister security organizations, have immediately swung into action
Wow, quite a story there. First of all, we heard from the governor of Imo State there, Hope Uzodinma, speaking earlier before the PRO of the correctional facilities, Francis Onobore. But quite shocking story from the eastern part of Nigeria.
Yes, it's not the first time we're having a jailbreak, but the part that is intriguing for me is the conversation that's coming up. The police is saying, the IGP is saying that the attack was orchestrated by IPOB, the banned IPOB members, and then IPOB has come out to say they did not take part in that attack. We've seen attack in other parts of the country, and then it's blamed on either terrorists or bandits. And the speed, some persons are arguing that the speed with which this investigation was carried out, automatically saying it is IPOB and I think Eastern Security Network that were part of it. So people are, you know,
well, that was
neither here nor there.
That was the police coming out with that statement, mentioning those who are responsible.
And then the group have come up to say they were not part of the attack. So who do we believe? What process was used to investigate? So
basically, because media rounds as at last night was still, you know, gunmen, because being responsible media, you didn't want to put a name to it.
The police has
now
come
the police
up
have come
to
to put a name to the gunmen.
To the group, and the group has come to say,
deny.
No, we weren't part of it. So who do we believe? Well, we'll watch how things develop with that story and just keep you updated on it.
Once again, almost 2,000 inmates freed after gunmen, well, according to the police, IPOB attacked a correctional facility in Imo State. Quite a really horrifying, shocking story, though they talked about no lives lost and a couple of inmates.
That's about another contradiction, really, because on the one hand, the governor is saying no life was lost. And then when we saw the police, the correction spokesperson officer, he said that one inmate died. So maybe the governor was not updated before that briefing. And then when you see the tough talk, the security agencies are ready. So if they were ready and, you know, on their toes, how did that attack happen without them being aware? What is wrong with our intelligence gathering? So many questions to be asked, but let's just leave that story and move on this morning.
It's not a funny story because almost 2,000 inmates freed. It is
horrific. 6 has voluntarily returned.
Okay, 6 out of almost 2,000. 6 out of almost 2,000. 35 refusing, according to the PRO. It's scary because it means that you have people on the streets who clearly are supposed to be serving time, as it were, and many have called it a jailbreak. Also, people have called it, an attack because it
is an attack.
Yeah,
but the question that continues to resonate
from inside.
The question that continues to resonate is who.
Right then, still on the security issues in Nigeria. Now, 5 of 39 students abducted from the Federal College of Forestry Mechanization in northwestern state of Kaduna have regained freedom. Now, the 5 students returned yesterday afternoon and have been taken to military medical facility for examination by the state.
The State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan, said in a statement that updates will be provided on further operational feedback on their return. Now, the 5 students and 34 of their colleagues were abducted by bandits who invaded the school on March 11. It is unclear if the returnees were rescued by the military. The latest that I saw before we came on this morning was that parents of the other ones that are still held captive are saying that they are going to negotiate with bandits, the people that have held on to their children. There is an outstanding position of the Kaduna state government that they will not negotiate with bandits, and they will try anybody who goes and negotiate on their behalf with these bandits.
Well, is it on the state's behalf or on the family's behalf?
That is, the families are saying that they are going ahead in spite of the directive. And then we look at it, who really released these people? Were they rescued? Yes, were they rescued by the military? The military is yet to make a statement. Did they flee on their own? These are some of the questions that need answers. Let's see what happens before the close of work today. Hopefully we'll get some information from the government. Away from Nigeria now.
Yes, we'll still stick in West Africa, though, from news that United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has condemned the attack on peacekeepers in Mali. which 4 Chadian peacekeepers were killed and 34 others were injured. Now, the U.S. spokesman, Stefan Dujarric, said the attack was carried out on Friday against a peacekeeping camp in the Aguehok area, which is in northern Mali's Kidal region.
Dujarric said the Secretary General commends the courage and bravery of the peacekeepers and called on Malian authorities to spare no effort in identifying and promptly holding to account the perpetrators of the attack.
We have an update from Mali where you will recall 4 peacekeepers from Chad were killed on Friday during an attack against the camp in Agolok. This is in northern Mali's Kidal region. 34 peacekeepers were injured in the attack. That's up from 19 originally reported as injured on Friday. The Secretary General, of course, condemns the attack in the strongest terms. He also commends the courage and bravery of the peacekeepers who robustly repelled the attack by armed combatants against one of their camps. The Secretary General conveyed his heartfelt condolences to the government and people of Chad and extends his profound sympathies to the families of the victims. He wishes a swift recovery to all the peacekeepers injured. The Secretary General recalls that attacks that target peacekeepers may constitute war crimes under international law and that sanctions can be applied against those responsible. He calls on the Malian authorities to spare no effort in identifying the prompt holding to account of the perpetrators of this heinous attack. Tomorrow, the Security Council will discuss the situation in Mali. Jean-Pierre Lacroix, the head of peacekeeping, is scheduled to brief council members.
It's just simply appalling. You know, I physically hurt when I hear the peacekeepers, people that are coming to help, are being attacked. I think something really should be done. And I do agree with the UN that it should be seen as some sort of war crime
against people there. Right, let's still stick with West Africa, though, and now come to Ghana. Authorities in the country are investigating the cause of death of more than, wait for it, 60 dolphins. Yes, they washed up on the several beaches. Local fishermen say the phenomenon is extremely rare.
Officials are warning against eating the dolphins and various other fish species that have also washed up. Ghana's Fishery Commission says samples have been taken for laboratory analysis. The latest incident comes after 111 dolphins were found dead off the coast of Mozambique in February.
Well, last year, 52 dead dolphins were also found on the coast of the Indian Ocean island of Mauritius. Such a, sad one there. I really,
you know what came to my mind? If it is in Nigeria, they will butcher it. You will only see
also,
in
there
the
also
plate.
calls in Ghana. You look at those cute, those
they will
cute
butcher
things.
it before you begin to look about making assessment. It's already digesting in the stomach.
It is not point and kill.
No, but it's not a good culture, though. It's funny, but it's not a good
60
culture
dolphins, washed up the shore.
Money for some people.
And another, what's caused it? Did they ram into a ship? Was there something in the water?
Well, I guess they will investigate and let us know.
All right. Up next, right here on Breakfast Central, let's look at the morning papers. Well done. Still Breakfast Central with Olisa and Felicity on this wonderful Tuesday morning. If you're back to work or perhaps back from the holidays, we say, well, thank you very much. Welcome back. Let's go straight to the papers and we can start in Nigeria. Which one do we start with? I think it's only one, The Independent. No time to waste. Let's go straight to what they have for us this morning. The Daily Independent in Nigeria. So it talks about shippers, terminal operators, stifle trade facilitation at ports.
There's also NICOM's new rules set to after insurance companies' ownership. That's a bit of business there. How OBJ jailed Bode George over PDP national chair.
Nigeria, again, there's the Daily Times. So let's see that one. They've also gone with the Imo the state's attack on the prison facility. So there you have it. Gunmen attack Imo State Police Headquarters, Correctional Center. And you can see a fire of gutted vehicles there in the front compound.
Let's jump to the Guardian Post. It's a big one here.
Yeah, in Cameroon. Yeah.
Yes, and as dialysis kits run out of stock, dying kidney patients protest disrupt traffic in Yaoundé. That's something from Cameroon there. And we also know that they've suspended over 200 MFCFA scandal.
All right, so there you have it. We'll take one more paper, the Daily Nation in Kenya. It talks about, succession and says why 2020 is do or die. They put the pictures of, the main candidates there, Kenyatta, Raila, Odinga, ODM, all of them on the front pages. So quick breather. We'll do it for us right now on Breakfast Central. Yes, and when we come back, lots to discuss on the business scene, especially when it comes to Nigeria's, what I call it, breadwinner product. Oil.
Don't go away. You will want to miss this. Good to know you're still with us on Breakfast Central. We continue with our first conversation this morning. Now, the upturn in the price of the international oil benchmark, Brent crude, has pushed Nigeria's oil revenue above the estimate in the 2021 budget. Brent, against which the country's crude oil is priced, has been trading more than $20 higher than the federal government's benchmark for this year's budget in recent months.
But the 2021 budget was based on an oil price benchmark of $40 per barrel and a production level of 1.86 million barrels per day. Now, according to the budget, 30%, of projected revenues is to come from oil-related sources, while 70% is to be earned from non-oil sources.
A familiar face joins us now. Tunji Andrews is a financial analyst and founder of Awaba. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, so Brent crude hit $51 per barrel in December, $60 in February, and rose to $70 before closing at $64 per barrel on April 1. What's driving the increase in crude oil?
An opening up economy. More factories are opening up across the world. More economy basically is opening up across the world, and that is of course giving a bit of how would I explain it, faith towards economic concerns. So people are viewing the economy and believing that we will be able to see more activity, more business activity, and more industrial activity. I don't know why that got stuck in my head. But as we see more of those, we will see more people demand for oil, and that will push up the prices. Of course, we did see a lot of people stockpile crude oil during the lockdowns, but as for now, more people are buying crude oil, so that will continue to push the prices up in the medium term.
Well, Tunji, we know that Nigeria relies heavily on the crude oil for about 50% of the government revenues and over 90% of export earnings. And the rise in oil prices means an increase in revenue. Now, a lot of people will look at these earnings and ask, why does the government want to borrow more funds, borrow more just to fund this budget?
Well, that's a hard question to answer. You do realize that year on year, the government has continued to expand despite reduced earnings in terms of crude oil revenue. But the size of the government itself has continued to expand. The size of expenditure has continued to expand. So I think it's, to be honest with you, it does sound like they're trying to be bullish. That is, putting the best case scenario and saying that we know we will be able to do this despite the fact that we've never done it before. And being bullish is good, but being unrealistic is the extreme of the.
Hello, Tunji. Okay, I think network just yanked him off, but the conversation around the oil price, we still have plenty to ask. Nigeria budgeted a certain amount, and then
$40.
Yes, there is an increase now. What are we going to do with the excess? Does it mean, I think that was what he was trying to respond to before he went off. What are we going to do with the excess? Are we going to use it to supplement and stop the planned borrowing, or we're going to go ahead with it? It's a bit fuzzy, and we're hoping that Tunji can join us again and shed some more light. We have plenty of questions for him. We'll take a little breather, And when we come back, the conversation continues. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Breakfast Central to Lisa and Felicity right here. Don't forget to catch us on social media. News Central TV is where to be. Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. Log on to the website newscentral.africa. We're still talking business today.
Yes,
this morning. We still have Tunji Andrews, founder, Awaba, and financial analyst. Always a regular here. Tunji is still with us via phone. Tunji, we were talking about why the government needs to borrow in respective of, we know that with this cap of $40 per barrel. So you were continuing your statement earlier. So carry on.
Yes. So it's basically a situation around increased expenditure, but there's also the fact that we've not cut down costs or expenses, or so despite the fact that we've had reduced revenue over the last maybe, I don't know, like 5, 6, 7 years, we need to expand what we spend on. Government size, we continue to expand ideas on how much we spend on capital expenditure, recurrent expenditure. It's been expanding every year, despite the fact that the revenue has been going in the opposite direction. So it is only likely that we will continue to borrow until government, and I don't necessarily mean this government particularly, but until government in Nigeria as a whole rethinks governance, you will continue to see that trend.
Well, what happens to the excess that's now coming in? You budgeted 40, now it's almost doubled. What happens to the excess money? What do we do with it?
Well, so if you look at the way revenue works and budget expectations work, is that recurrent expenditure is spent on first. So even if you look at how budget implementation works, you will realize that our recurrence is always almost close to the 90 percentile completion rate, while expenditure is always very low. So what will happen is that the money we get from revenue will go into servicing quickly things like recurrent expenditure, salaries, government overhead, and things like that. But we still need to build roads. We need to build rail, hospitals, schools. So usually that is where the borrowing goes into. There's always a clear line between what we borrow and where the money is going to. Usually there's always a clear line. It's just that it's not as clear as we want it to be.
All right, Tunji. I think we can always go on and on when it comes to Nigeria's budget, and especially when it comes to the excess, the $40 per barrel, and as you always love to point out here, the cost of governance in the country. But Tunji, let's segue quickly to another issue that we want to talk about this morning, and we need to really touch on this one. It's all about France, and their proposal from the French government to donate approximately €6 million to finance the World Trade Organization's technical assistance program for developing countries and the least developing countries from 2021 to 2023. Now, we know that this intervention is aimed at improving taking part and understanding in global trade rules and standards. But the big question is, how does this benefit, Africa?
France has actually contributed has contributed some 28 million to the World Trade Organization Trust Fund in 20 years. What does this move mean for Africa? Is this giving a man fish or teaching him how to fish? Over to you, Tunji.
I don't think it's either. So it's neither he's teaching him how to fish, nor is he giving him fish. I feel it's like giving him bait. So here's the thing, right? And I think we've spoken about this before on this show. When France needs to trade, basically, so that is the plain simple truth. Now, giving Africa 20 plus billion euros is a way, and basically African countries are always excited to receive any sort of money. So the idea is, let's give them something that they will be happy with, so that they would deal our trade with us. It makes no sense business-wise if you want to look at it from our own perspective, because why exactly are we taking that money from you? What is it going to do to our economies? What is it going to do to our infrastructure? But on the real sense of it, what this money guarantees for you is that we are a market for your products, and also you have first-line access to some of our raw materials. So, from my perspective, I don't think it's a thing that we should be excited about, but it is global trade, and that's what the WTO is there for, just to facilitate trade. But if we want to look at it basically from an Africa-centric perspective, we should be asking for more.
Oh, that's quite interesting. We should be asking for more. Coming from you, Tunji, I would say that's, I'm really surprised about that one. But Tunji, really, how much power does the WTO really hold to make things happen, with or without, our very own sister from Nigeria, Ngozi Okonjo, right there, right now, to run things?
So the WTO is like a trade facilitator. Just a kind of switchboard that brings everybody together. If we don't want to trade, you won't still trade. It's just like the way the United Nations has countries that are not at peace with one another, if you get what I mean. So the WTO has many countries that necessarily do not want to trade and don't trust each other, but it basically is there as the unbiased umpire that is able to bring everybody together and, smoothing deals out. Is the WTO going to work in our own behalf? I don't necessarily think so. The only thing I think that Okonjo-Iweala being there serves for us is that whenever the deals concern us, she's able to speak about it with a little bit of understanding of what Nigeria needs and what Africa needs. But she's meant to be there as an unbiased umpire to deal for everybody equally.
All right.
Okay, France seems convinced that the WTO has a major role to play in the wake of the economic crisis and easing trade tensions, as well as, settling disputes. How much power does the organization really hold to make things happen?
So I don't think it has much power. So here's the thing, right? So before the lockdown, if you remember, there was growing tension between the US and China, which was already affecting global crude oil prices and so many things across the world.
Yes.
Then we entered into a lockdown, the world hit a pandemic and things like that. So basically, the only thing I see the WTO doing right now is trying to see how much of the world can be opened up in terms of global trade. There are still some parts that are still not opened up completely. So really, the WTO's work is really just like, if you want to call it in football terms, a brand ambassador that is going around, just a goodwill message and saying, come back to trade, come back to the table and things like that.
Yeah.
But the real trade and the real heavy lifting is still on the countries themselves.
Okay.
If Nigeria doesn't want to trade, there's nothing the WTO can do.
True. Fair enough. All right, Tunji, thank you very much for joining us on The Breakfast this morning.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
Umpire, and WTO, as ambassador, who can be VAR? I asked again. The guy in the White House, the former guy in the White House has gone. He raised lots of questions. But thank you very much, Tunji. I'm sure we'll have you once again. Really give us more insight on all these issues.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll take a quick breather. We've got sports up next, and also we'll go straight to what's been on our social media timelines. I'm sure Felicity's got something very cheeky for us this morning, and I really just can't wait to see it right after this break.
Stay with us.
All right, we're still here for you. Don't forget to catch us on the social media space at News Central TV on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and yes, not forgetting YouTube, and log on to the website newscentral.africa for more. You can also catch sports there, but just before you do so, let's bring on our very first lady of sports. We love to call her here, Onyechi Obaro. Onyechi, welcome back. Good morning.
Good morning, Olisa. Nice to be here with you.
Yes, we have missed you right here on Breakfast because you always bring the sunshine for sports. All right, Onyechi, quick one. Let's talk about the football matches played in the EPL last night. And I think there's only one word or one team on the mind of people this morning. It's West Ham United, right?
West Ham United, they're making it at the top 4 in the English Premier League. I would say for sure that David Moyes was be so glad, even with the fact that he had to bring Jesse Lingard into the fold. And Jesse Lingard was the man who was just the star man yesterday for West Ham. Now, looking at that fact that West Ham, for the very first time, scored 3 goals in the first half, even before the second half. It's the very first time that is happening for West Ham there. And I'm saying that this is a new Jesse Lingard under a new manager. So it's like the same Jesse Lingard, but under a new management this time around. Now, looking at that, I would say his pressing with intensity, his approach to the ball from the box, his dribbling. Now, I would say that Jesse Lingard is really, really doing so well for West Ham United. 8 goals, 8 assists in 8 games is a wonderful one. Maybe David Moyes should stay at the top 4 longer than any other club would at this point, even when he was Manchester United manager.
3-2 for West Ham away to Wolverhampton Wanderers. I was looking at, that table, and to see West Ham above Chelsea, above Tottenham, above Liverpool. Let's not even go to Arsenal in 10th. But, West Ham there with 52 points, City, United and Leicester there. So maybe they might finish in the top 4. But the other game we saw earlier yesterday was the one between Everton and that team called Crystal Palace. Onyechi, what really happened?
Crystal Palace and Everton shared scores there. It ended 1-1. But you cannot forget that Batshuayi was a stamina for the day. He has been very good even when he was on loan all the way. But looking at the fact that he was for Crystal Palace, he has been very, very impactful. Now, of course, he needs this sustained run in order to have a good play of himself or even more confidence of himself. That Everton did not pull too much. Did not pull too much against Crystal Palace yesterday. We're thinking Carlo Ancelotti will come out with a different style to that game. But it was like he gave the whole game to Crystal Palace and they took advantage, sharing sports there, and then 1-1.
All right, so Crystal Palace against Everton, 1-1. James Rodriguez with the first goal, and just like you mentioned, Batshuayi there. All right, Onyechi, we know that UEFA Champions League football returns tonight with 2 interesting fixtures to watch out for, Onyechi.
Yes. Of course, we're going to be seeing Manchester City against Borussia Dortmund. One question that Manchester City will get to answer is how they can stop a free scoring striker. You can't forget Erling Haaland there because trying to hold Erling Haaland is going to be a big deal for Manchester City and Pep Guardiola's side. But you cannot forget too that Pep Guardiola's side is a scoring side too. They've got the scoring wingers, they've got strikers who can do the job too. Wingers who are always ready to do the job. Jadon Sancho, who was all controversy about his move to Manchester United, which did not work, but had to stay at Borussia Dortmund. Maybe he can come through today with the likes of Erling Haaland there. Pep Guardiola will be looking to do something wonderful. Keep a mark at home at the Etihad because they will be playing at the Etihad there. Then looking at the other game, Liverpool and Real Madrid. Maybe this can be a revenge work from that of 2018 when Real Madrid had to stop Liverpool, having to bring one man down, Mohamed Salah. With this man you're seeing there, Sergio Ramos, who is back in the medical books. But we're hoping that it's not going to be a revenge work. The likes of Jurgen Klopp has said that it's not going to be a revenge work for what happened in 2018. But we'll get to see beautiful football in the UEFA Champions League tonight.
All right, so no Sergio Ramos, so which means the likes of Salah and Rani perhaps may be free to roam around against Real Madrid in that fixture. And also, many have talked about the big transfer that's being rumoured that maybe this is an audition for Erling Haaland in front of Pep Guardiola in that game between Manchester City and Borussia Dortmund. So I'll be looking forward to watching those games, and Onyechi will be here later to tell us much more what to expect and perhaps hear from both managers later at 10:30 a.m. for In the Game. Thank you very much once again, Onyechi Obaro.
You're welcome.
All right, so there's football to watch out for tonight. I don't know about you, but clearly I know where my venue is.
I need to catch up on sleep. So watch your football.
Yeah.
I will catch up on sleep so that when I come back tomorrow morning, my eyes will be very bright. It's always nice to see you anyway. It's always nice.
Right then, so I think it's only fair if we go straight to what's been on the timeline lately, the social media info space, I love to call it. So do you want to go first?
I should.
Ladies
I'm
first.
the lady.
Not best, okay. Carry on.
So there is this thing about when you're making a call. I am guilty of it sometimes, especially when my emotions are involved. But sometimes you need to put it on speaker so we'll understand. It's a joke, but take a look at this.
If you're going to be in public, on the phone, having an argument, you need to put the phone on speaker. I have to hear both sides of the story to know whose side I'm on.
It's as simple as that. Put it on speaker. You can't be arguing and, gesticulating, and we can only hear your part of the conversation. We can't hear the other person's part of the conversation. So it'd be nice if you must shout. Make sure you put it on speaker.
The people still do that though, right? When they're making a conversation on the phone, or perhaps
sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you don't know that your voice is getting high. This is supposed to be a joke, though. Don't take it too serious. But I mean, if you must, it's basically trying to tell you in a subtle way. Have some phone manners, especially when you're in public. Don't go screaming.
Okay, so I get the twist now. If you're gonna be shouting out loud on the phone, just put it on speakerphone
so we can hear both sides and choose who we support in the argument.
But what concerns us?
It's a subtle way of saying better phone manners when you're in public. Please, don't scream so much.
All right.
On the phone.
Okay, we'll love to know what you make about that one. You can send us your thoughts at News Central TV, especially if you're perhaps notorious for perhaps screaming on the phone.
I am not notorious, but once in a while it can happen. Somebody like a listener can provoke me, and then I will begin to say,
provoke you.
You start.
The only way I can provoke
premature,
you, I can only provoke you in one way. There is only one way.
Lisa.
Not that kind of.
Lisa, if I catch you.
No. Well, if you catch me.
Let's catch your own
I would like you to catch me. If she catches me, literally. Like, okay.
Oh my gosh, on national TV, in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost.
I've been waiting for you to catch me. Relax. Okay, let's go straight to what's been on my timeline lately. It's quite a cheeky one. One of the ways, perhaps maybe Felicity can catch it, but just watch this and enjoy.
So cute. But it's so stereotyped sometimes. I mean,
to touch the other loses. Start time, 9:05 p.m.
When she make that ass bounce like I love.
Feeling ourselves.
Type to make you bay mad, you in trouble. NBA playoffs that.
Time, 10:37 p.m. He effed up. Game over.
Okay, so many. It's a morning. So
no apologies for any sensitivities. Yeah, but it's a night's game, I think.
Lisa, it is morning.
Yeah, I know.
And you are showing us how people will now come and chill.
It's a game.
I've been enjoying. Which kind of game?
It's a game. Okay, you can watch it again. So, obviously it's a couple. The game is how long will it take before one person touch another person? Because obviously it's a couple. So at some point they start drinking. So don't touch me. That's the game. Even if we're drinking. So no matter how much you drink, which I don't advise.
And they are a couple.
Drinking,
sitting in the same couch.
Yes,
in the same apartment.
House, 9:05.
Anyway, maybe it is the anticipation that is good.
Start time 9:05. The guy is feeling good. He doesn't want to touch. He's teasing. More time the drinking, feeling ourselves. Being careful. Don't touch me. I can beat it. So who touches first loses the game. That is.
It's not a loss. If you touch, let me speak it in Nigeria local palace.
At some point, this is like 10:30, and ouch.
Okay, we're watching it along with you.
He makes a mistake.
Let me speak it in local palace. touch. You shaking now.
Well, it's a game I like to play Felicity so that we see how long we can stay.
No, your brother zoned permanently, irreversibly, consistently brother zoned. I guess that's where we wrap things up this morning.
But we advise drink responsibly though. Come on, we know it's in the morning.
Drink in the morning, go to work, earn some money, and then join us again.
Might be a nice bonding game for people who are couples. You never know. Especially after lockdown. What you've experienced, come on, you've been there now doing lockdown now. Things go on.
Okay, we're going to leave you with this one. In the spirit of Easter still, some persons are still enjoying themselves in
Kenya.
Exactly.
How it all played out. Easter in Kenya. So that's what we're leaving you with on the show today. But don't forget, you can catch Olisa and Felicity, yes, tomorrow morning, same time.
We'll be right here.
Breakfast Central.
Zoning Olisa.
Touching in a very good way.
Irreversibly. Bye.
Bye-bye.
The first one is on the vaccines that are...
With the Ministry of Health directing that congregations and numbers all over the places of worship and celebrations be cut down, it is seen to be an unusual Easter. And here in Kenya, Bishop Dominic Kimengich of the Sacred Heart of Jesus Cathedral in Eldoret led the Mass, urging parents to be closer to their children during this holiday season to avoid issues of early pregnancies and other forms of immoral behavior.
Now it is clear that the parents have to be on the front line in journeying with their children, talking to them, and ensuring that they know where these children are. Because children are children, they cannot make those decisions which an adult can make.
At the International Pentecostal Holy Church in Chebarus, Uasin Gishu, Christians marked the day while observing social distancing measures. They prayed for the ones who are in the zoned areas.
Nataka kukumbuka wenzetu wa Kristo ambao wako katika hiyo miji ya mbali, Nairobi, Nakuru na hizo miji zingine ambao wamefungiwa hawaendi makanisani.
Tusiweze kutukuza tu virus. Wacha tusikie tena viongozi wetu wakipea Mungu nafasi